I'm gonna start the recording. Hey Josie,
Hey there, how's it going?
good. How are you?
Good. I'm moving from one place to another today, so I might have to put my video off when I'm in the car, but I wanted to say hi.
All good. All right, everybody's showing up now. Welcome, Jing.
Hi, hi, Aaron. Hi, everyone.
I was saying that I think we were thinking of starting with a short sit. So wherever you are, if you're moving, maybe mindfulness of the body, but otherwise we'll just settle into our bodies, into our practice, into what's going on. And maybe if you are inclined, that just kind of drop a question into your heart, into your mind of what happened for you in this 8 weeks. What's shifted, um, and yeah, we can just kind of settle in. You just find the breath, find the body. You've just come from a busy day or a lot of activity. You just take a moment to let yourself stop doing anything. Just very gently make contact with whatever's happening. Just be sure to stay with some physical anchor, some anchor in the body, some felt sense of the breath. For the newer people who just joined, we're doing a short 10-minute sit. Um, if you're able to participate, wonderful. And as I mentioned, you might experiment with just kind of dropping a question into your heart or your mind. of what have I learned? What have I maybe not even learned on a conceptual level, but what's shifted? Maybe it's subtle. What am I taking away? What am I bringing with me from whichever of the sessions you were able to watch or join? And from the rest of your life too, over the last few months. What's the directionality? You need to think about it. You just invite that question, give it a lot of space, stay with the breath, the body, and the heart space. And maybe we can consider that everybody else on this Zoom, in this course, is also in some inquiry, some process around how they want to show up in the world, how it's meaningful for them. And just let yourself feel the impact of that, knowing that there's others here, some of them not on this Zoom call, but participate in this course. We're all in a similar inquiry in a certain way. We all want to be happy, don't want to suffer. We want to spend our time doing things that are meaningful. We want people in our life that care about us, we want people that we care about. You see if there's any natural goodwill that comes out of that space, of that recognition. It might not be much, might just be a little, but something that it's like, I see these other people, these other beings. May they find what they're looking for. May they be happy. May they be well. And you can slowly bring your attention back to your body, back to the Zoom, and back into a different kind of connection. Um, yeah. So the next thing that we had in mind, which I think, yeah, hopefully will be meaningful, is to break out into some rooms, some breakout rooms of just 2 or 3 people. If we have enough, I think we have 9, so we should be able to all be in groups of 3 and just go around kind of in a circle. Generally, taking 2 minutes each, 3 minutes each. We'll post in the chat and just share anything that kind of came alive in that little meditation, or also anything, just general reflections from the course. It can be, this came up for me in this session, and this is how it's impacted me, or these are questions that I still have that don't feel like were answered. There's no right answers here, but generally just a conversation, but meaning mostly for the first few minutes, we'll just give each person the chance to share. And then after that, we'll come back together and just have a more unstructured conversation for as long as feels good. Uh, any questions about that? Sounds good. Um, is everybody able to participate in this chunk? Is there anybody who's like running around? And yes, Sarah's a yes. Everybody's a yes.
Great.
Okay.
It's okay to have cameras off, or you can turn them on.
Lots of little thumbs.
All right.
Got the-
Well, I'll open the breakout rooms and we'll dive in. All right. Welcome back, y'all.
Yeah, so I guess we just wanted to kind of bring everybody into the same room and see if anything, if there are any kind of exciting topics or anything that's still with you from the breakout discussions that felt meaningful to share in the whole group. Would just be an observation or kind of something that's still alive and you want to keep talking about, or yeah, also anything from the whole kind of course, like what would feel meaningful to share from your time and from the sessions. And so floor is open. You can raise your hand if you want to use the Zoom hand raising feature, or just unmute yourself. It's all good.
Physical hand raise. What really struck me is that I think there's a bit of like a yearning for these kinds of conversations and like, hey, how do you fit practice into your life? Or like, how does this practice show up in spaces that you're not just like working or studying? And that we're in this one like together. That one really just stuck with me. Like this is, we talk about sanghas or like little communities of study in Buddhist words and meditation mindfulness communities. And I think it says a lot when like generally like younger people who have so much going on want to come together to just like kind of open up the day-to-day experience of being in this practice. And thank you for bringing us together. That really stood out to me.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I relate to that of there's these like, if you get into doing meditation retreats, I know probably some or most of you have had that experience where there can be this kind of like high or these like peak experiences, but then you just go back to your life, right? And you're like, here I am, like doing all the mundane things, trying to make these decisions. And I think it can be easy to feel like unsupported, or almost, I know a lot of people who are, um, it's kind of almost erratic, like back and forth, like swinging between these amazing retreat experiences where they feel like they're about to get enlightened or something, and then they're like back in their mediocre job, or like they're these like real difficult decisions and trying to make their way, and like, you know, the insanity of America in 2023. And yeah, it can be trying to bring more awareness, more conversation and connection to that other side of the pendulum.
May I respond? I don't want to take the floor from others.
Go for it.
One thing that my teacher has said in one of his talks, he was like, look, it was on a retreat, and he was like, we are not monks who like life is hard in other ways for them, but like we have to pay taxes and deal with tough family members and like travel and traffic and being late to things, that there feels like there can be like this outsized like pressure. And I think a lot of like the modern practice can be about, something he said was like, can be about like recognizing where that dukkha or suffering can arise and like patting it on the head and be like, well, of course you're here. Like this isn't the ideal scenario. We have to, he's like, you have to be able to recognize that there's some like adjustment and flexibility and grace within the practice to suit it to the lives that we have to live in this modern time.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, what I think I got from this cohort was a sense of people talking about what is meaningful to them, even if it feels like they're even if people feel very confused or very uncertain about things. And I think um that's probably better than like just hiding it to yourselves. And we had like a good conversation in our breakout groups about like what happens after. And I think, um, yeah, there's the Slack is still there, and there are events to go to still, like listed on the website. So yeah, I think there's me that is open to engaging further. Um, Maybe not like super active, but also like a visitor kind of still. So yeah, it seems to me that like it's not fully ending in a sense. It's only the beginning. And so yeah, like we're coming to an end, but it also feels like beginning, feels very paradoxical and alive for me right now. So
I love that. I think Ava's attempting to board a train or in the process of getting settled, who she was in our breakout. But Jane or Kaya, do you have any reflections, any thoughts? No pressure.
I do have many reflections. I might have, oh, I don't know if you called me.
Oh, Ava.
Groups, I might have to send.
You're very
Oh,
quiet.
did you say? What did you say? Ava?
Oh, I just heard you start talking, but it was very quiet and I couldn't quite hear.
I'll have to send.
Send a text, a chat. Okay, we'll see if we receive a chat. Did you have something, Jane?
Oh yeah, sure. So while we are waiting, oh okay. Oh okay, take a while. Sure. So for me, yeah, I definitely took quite something from our 8-week sessions. I think I missed a few, but I saw the recordings. Yeah. So I think yeah, as I mentioned, like in our breakout groups, like I took takeaway first, understanding how people's feelings, like put ourselves into their shoes to know what they feel instead of trying to respond to their questions or their talking. So yeah, and also I try to I learned how to be comfortable with your current situations, like even you are lost, you are in the dark. Yeah, just get familiar with the feelings. I think I take this from Kim Nolan's session last week. Yeah, and then I also learned to ask to understand yourself better by asking yourself questions like what is mine to do? Yeah, just keep asking without trying to answer. So let a true answer flow up to your mind. So I think that's really helpful. Yeah, and then I think overall for the 8-week sessions, I really like that we integrated the meditation practice and the conversation together. So we are not just doing a conversation and we are not just doing pure meditation, but we combine them together. And each coordinators have different kinds of methods to meditate. And I think that's very inspiring and good to learn because sometimes one fit you in some time and the other time maybe the other one is better for you. So yeah, I really like the format of this 8-week sessions, and it was also good to get a community with like-minded people, like everybody here right now. So yeah, we have similar questions, challenges in life, and so you are not alone. Yeah, and we gotta share our thoughts together. Yeah, and get inspired by other people. So that's really good. And in the future, I think I don't know. I just keep an eye on my emails from Dharma Gates and see if there's any other sessions I'm interested in. Yeah, because I feel like my my life with meditation is like study and practice, study and practice. Yeah, like study by meditating with people together or joining sessions like this, and then I go back to my normal life. Yeah, trying to apply the ideas I learned from the sessions to my daily life, and then I forgot what I learned after a few weeks. So I attend these sessions again. Yeah, do the retreat again, and I have refreshed memory, and then go back to normal life. Yeah, so just I feel like it's a cycle and not a one-time thing. So yeah, I think I'll just keep an eye on that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for having this 8 weeks courses and coordinating, and as well as the Thursday discussions. I didn't join all of them, but I think that's pretty nice as well. So yeah, thank you.
So good to hear. Thank you. On that note, just a little comment. We sent out our August newsletter a few days ago, and if you haven't found it, Gmail has decided suddenly that we're spam, I think. And so just check your spam folder and move it back into your inbox. It'll be good for us. If you didn't see it, because there's a bunch of cool stuff coming up this fall. We have another online course type thing in the works.
Yeah, I can read out Ava's
Oh.
comment for the group. Thank you, Ava, for typing this out. I'm sure that took a while on your phone. So Ava says, I think the separation of your environment, body, and mind has been a really reassuring reminder to be able to look outside yourself completely and view your physical body in your environment. Learned that most strongly during the first session, incredibly impactful, and then the separation of the mental and somatic. This is easier to explain verbally, but overall it's been a lesson on gratitude just by getting out of my head and recognizing the space I'm growing in. Beautiful. Thank you, Ava.
Kaya, is there anything you're interested in adding to the pot just to get all the voices in? Or?
Yeah, I definitely want to extend just a big embrace of gratitude to this space. I have been thinking a lot about the different ways that I show up in spaces like this, but also kind of in that exterior outside space as well. And then also I've just been curious of kind of the like what comes after this and wanting to, I don't know, I feel like just the different ways that I've been able to experience other people in this cohort. I feel like everyone's just like this little toolbox, this wealth of knowledge, and I like how like we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like how do we kind of share this resource? And I think that having like an online cohort like this is very interesting to just be able to kind of extend that connection, but I still feel that like craving for like I want to be with you guys and I want to kind of have that in-person experience. So it's an interesting dynamic with that. But yeah, and in our breakout group we were talking about different like sanghas and stuff that we may tune into a little bit like that. So I'm like part of me is like tell me everything, and I just want to explore more. I definitely feel eager. I feel like these past 8 weeks I want to embrace myself for just all the change and growth that I've experienced, and I forgot my thought. Yeah, but also just keep going and trust. I like that question a lot of like what is mine to do as well. So that has been something that has stuck with me, and then also just recognizing that my path doesn't have to look like one thing, and it doesn't look like one thing, and it'll always be altering and changing. And just like surrendering to that, I feel a lot of just like anxiety of like not knowing. So I feel like through these 8 weeks, I've had a lot of questions that I've had resolved, but I feel like I've had even more questions come up. So yeah, lots of nice tidbits to chew on for me, but very grateful. But I actually have to leave. But thank you.
Thanks for joining, and thanks for sharing. It's good to hear your reflections. And yeah, I guess maybe briefly, if you have time before we go, one couple things about what's going to be happening moving forward is we're going to keep that Slack open that people didn't use too much, but it's going to be shared in our next newsletter as a Dharma Gates, like whole Dharma Gates community Slack. So anybody can join who's come on any of our past retreats and things like that. And so, yeah, we can, use that as a place to talk about things. And we also are going to, hopefully, we just talked about this yesterday, so it's not all ironed out, but going to have some kind of regular space over the fall on Zoom, possibly with guest teachers, but just a regular touch in for people to practice together a little bit, engage with some Dharma stuff, and then connect to other people who are in the broader Dharma Gates ecosystem, and that'll all be available through the Zoom or through the Slack too. So that's a one way to stay in the loop. And yeah, the newsletters where we share like everything. So definitely be on that. And but yeah, thanks so much.
Rich,
Bye,
cool.
Kai.
Thank you, everybody.
Building off
Cool.
what Kaya
Yeah,
just said, one thing that came up in our group is like Josie was saying how like it was really comforting. Oh wow, right as I speak her name, she's coming back into the group. Well, I'll let her speak what she said. Hey Josie,
Hi there.
I was about to share with the group what you shared in our small group about like how comforting it is that other people are struggling with the same questions. Do you wanna share about that or anything else from the small group? Josie, you there? Oh,
my
okay.
service may be spotty,
Okay.
but she may just
Well,
listen.
anyways, yeah, she was. I mean, Josie's like 20 years old, so she was sharing that it's like being with this little bit of an age range. Like some people, and they're older in their 20s, are also facing some of these same life questions, and then Sarah kind of put it beautifully. Like she said something like, "The questions are ongoing," is what you said, Sarah. So uh, that that's something that's sticking out for me today. Kaya kind of just touched on it too. Of like, Kaya was like, I answered some questions, but more questions came up, and that feels important to recognize.
I'm curious if there's any more in the group around like we started to get a little bit into like ideas for like how to keep this some kind of community going around this, and I'm curious if anyone has any more they want to share. We're kind of losing people. So we'll probably won't go till 3:30, but as long as it feels